All right, guys. So time to renew the lease agreements. First off, great job. If you got to this point, which many of you will be, that means you did a great job. First of all, screening your applicants, screening your tenants. You did a good job managing the property, and now you've done a great job at keeping consistent cash flow. Right. So we are big advocates on no turnover, essentially. So you want tenants for a long time. Keep in mind too, as we talked about earlier in the training, you've already discussed with your tenant about what happens when the lease is renewed and how rents will go up. So it's unlike the private market where you have to have this awkward discussion. So I've done, as I mentioned early on in this training, I've done private market renting as well as Section 8. So first 2 years, I learned some lessons in the private market. One of those was the difficult decision when you're about to do a rent hike in the private market. They don't like it, right? Maybe you guys yourselves have been in that scenario where you're receiving a rent hike from your landlord, and it always seems like, oh, the landlord wants to make more money, and this is what's in it for me. This is crazy. I want to get out of here. That doesn't happen in Section 8. That feeling never occurs. That discussion never happens. That awkward moment of them, not wanting to agree to it, and what do I have to say? I have no pull, so to speak, like that the tenant will feel like. In this case, you've already warmed them up. You let them know it doesn't have any bearing on what they're paying. The tenants of Section 8 in the Housing Choice Voucher Program are paying 30% of their adjusted income, not 30% of rent. So I remind them of that frequently. I put a clause in the lease agreement as well. We have some examples. So renewing a lease is great. So going back to this, great job. You've done a great job. If you're renewing the lease, if your tenant has been good, they've been fair quality, they haven't been a big headache, why not renew it? Because we talk about in this chapter the cost of not renewing, right? You're going to have some vacancy because you're in an HOA. You likely have a move out and a move in fee to pay. You might have maybe a week or two of vacancy, so that adds up to the cost. And then the new people move in, and you have another fee there. So just a lot going on there, and you have to screen new people, and you got to hope that you're going to get somebody equal to or better than the previous tenants. So I am always an advocate of this, and we're also huge advocates of renewing for at least 5, sometimes 10-year terms. It gives the tenants a reassurance, even though there's clauses, and these are specific state regulated, North Carolina regulated in this case, and in Maine regulated realtor lease regulated agreements. So there, it's not something where this isn't allowed. Within those lease agreements now, there's also clauses that allow both you and the tenant to get out of it. So as much as it feels like, hey, you're locked in and I'm super safe as a tenant, they're not, right? Like you can get out if you're going to sell it, if you're going to change something about it conditionally. You just have to give the proper notices. But it gives them a big reassurance. They're so happy. I've yet to present a lease of 5 or greater years where the recipient, my tenant, is not thrilled. They are so happy. They want a place to call home. And if you're buying in the right areas, like we talk about Class B, even sometimes Class A areas, they don't want to leave those areas. And again, we're buying places that we ourselves would likely live in if we needed to. So these are places that they want to call home. It's a safe, secure neighborhood. They want to stay. So, guys, great chapter. We hit on a lot of different topics in here. Enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next chapter.